So we are going to get started. First off, thank you all for coming by today. This is insane. Now, I'm not sure why Jim Baird wouldn't want to talk to his constituents. I think that's ridiculous. He represents us and he should be here. And he was invited. Of course, we didn't just do this without inviting him, and he didn't show. So unfortunately, he's a little chicken. He doesn't want to face some of his votes that he took, or what he's trying to do, or what he supports. So I'm gonna start out, and I'm gonna try, thank you for the people in the overflow, I'm gonna try my best to talk so you can hear me, and then watch the slides so you can follow along. So hello, thanks for coming out. Who am I? My name, I'm just some guy, you know? Which is true. I'm not elected to office, I'm just a guy who is concerned about the way things are going and got involved some years ago. My name is Matt Geyer. I'm the greater Lafayette Indivisible tech guy and a lot of other things. I've been with the group since it formed in 2017, and I'm pissed off. So how's this whole thing gonna go down? So what I would like to do is I'll give you a little bit of history about Jim Baird and some of the votes he took, and then I want to hear from you. I want to hear how this is affecting you, how this is affecting the community. And then I have, after that, some next steps, actions, what can we do about it, that sort of thing. So let's give a little history of Jim Baird. He served in the Indiana House of Representatives from 2010 to 2018, and he was elected to the US House of Representatives in 2018. He sits on the House Committees for Agriculture, Foreign Affairs, Science, Space, and Technology. Yes. He voted with Trump 94.4% of the time during that. And 100% of the time in 2021 to 2022. He voted to overturn the results of the 2020 election. This is great. This is supposed to be interactive. This is fantastic. Keep that energy up. And he joined the Doge caucus for this session. I don't know why you were all against fraud, waste, and abuse, but you know. And voted for the 2024 GOP budget resolution, which we will talk about because that has some lasting effects for the people in this community and the whole country. Let's see what Jim Baird has said. He said, I think the program that Doge is doing is really something we should have done a long time ago. Do you agree with that? Do the people here agree? And he supports President Trump and Elon Musk in their efforts to expose and eliminate wasteful government spending. Do we think that that is what Elon Musk is doing right now? I don't think so either. Yes. So what cuts does Jim Baird support to support the billionaires? Really, that's what it's about. Tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, Social Security, veterans benefits, and farmers assistance.
No!
Are these things that we like or don't like? Yeah, I think these are pretty great. Let me play a little something from the Lutnick about what he thinks is going to happen to Social Security, or what, you know, if something happens, what's going to go on.
I feel like in any other moment, this would have been.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just would. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month. A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
Now, if you're on Social Security, do you think that if you got your check, or didn't get your check, that would be fine? No. Do people on Social Security normally have like a month window that they can wait where they don't get their check? No. I don't think so either. I think that is pretty dangerous. And if you're a billionaire like he is, I mean, yeah, maybe you don't care if you don't get your check. But this is something that we paid for and that we deserve. These are our benefits. Not to mention that they've never missed a payment in its entire existence. So all of a sudden, we're going to now be missing payments. I think that's ridiculous, and that shows exactly what Doge and his little 20-year-old minions are actually trying to do. They're stealing from all of us.
Yes.
Every day.
And now, I want to hear from you. Like, I've set this up, but I'm one person, and you're all here for a reason, and I want to hear how these cuts, these votes are affecting you. And if somebody has a story or what they want to talk about, I would love to hear it. Perfect. Let me give you a mic.
I'm a teacher, I probably don't need it. I told my husband today that if I had the chance to speak, the first question I was going to ask is, where's my check? I'm not eligible for Social Security, and I have about as much expectation for the Doge check as I do a unicorn. But I have been told that the only people who come to these kinds of things are leftist Democrat activists who are paid to be here. I didn't get mine either. I was wondering if it was on the way out.
We didn't get any money for this either.
I know that's not true. I'm here today because as a woman, a teacher, a wife, and a mom, the actions of our so-called leaders have been overwhelming on the best of days and downright terrifying on the worst.
That's right.
There are so many issues of concern that I have written letters to my congressman nearly twice a week since this circus began in January. Get so much as a form email response or a copy of their postcard in reply. I was hopeful to see that Representative Baird would be hosting a town hall during the first congressional recess, only to be disappointed when he retracted that posting a day later. As a woman, I am concerned at the number of executive orders in both the state and federal government aimed at taking away the rights our mothers and grandmothers fought so hard for. Bills at both levels of the government aim to eliminate voter fraud, which nearly every expert will confirm does not exist.
Baird.
By making people provide extra documentation to vote. Both bills include language that would make these requirements difficult for married women to meet the burden of proof without having to pay for a new or duplicate documentation, since many married women have changed their names. That's called a poll tax, and it's against the Constitution. Recorded a woman being taken from in front of her home by a swarm of individuals who assumed control of her, her phone, and her backpack before ever identifying themselves in any way. No identifying themselves as law enforcement, no Miranda rights, and no due process. She was taken away in an unmarked vehicle and found later in a detention center more than 1,000 miles from her home. Fascist! Almost every woman I have ever met who has had to walk through an unfamiliar area alone will tell you that this is a dangerous precedent. As a mom, I worry about my daughter. She has just graduated from college and should be of her life. Instead, she works 2 jobs and is struggling to afford basic living expenses. New legislation is written nearly every day that gives her more rights over her cat's medical care than her own. I worry that my children now live in a country that has been placed on an international human rights list. Alongside other countries like the very undemocratic Republic of the Congo in Africa, and our former allies are telling their citizens not to visit this country. As a teacher, this has been exhausting. You see, I work with high school students who are required to study the Constitution, and I am therefore very well versed in both history and government.
Yes.
I have joked with my husband about highlighting a copy of the Constitution as a record of all the attacks against it. But I tell my students, but if they have highlighted the entire page, then it was probably too much. I saw the authoritarian tendencies during Trump's first term in office, and now I feel like I'm watching a restart of World War II at warp speed. People are being rounded up at work, in churches, in the streets, simply based on the color of their skin, and sent to maximum security prisons and detention centers that have all the earmarks of a concentration camp.
Exactly.
Even much of the president's rhetoric is stolen from earlier dictators. I teach exchange students who are American citizens born to immigrant parents, and transgender students who are afraid to come to school because not only is their government against him, but it has emboldened the haters to voice their hate openly.
That's right.
Guaranteed meal of the day is on the chopping block because it was not deemed essential to the world's richest man. I have hardworking students who have waited months to see if they've been accepted to the colleges of their choice. They're first-generation college-bound kids. They've worked hard, and now they're unsure how the cutbacks and potential closing of the Department of Education will affect their financial packages.
Right.
Yet the administration is less concerned about these issues and instead wants to focus on the horrors of teachers making students feel welcome in class.
Yes.
The administration wants everyone to believe that they are restoring common sense and family values. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but my common sense tells me that if a convicted felon cannot get a job at McDonald's, then they shouldn't be running our country. To bankrupt a casino, then I probably don't want that person in charge of my retirement. My common sense tells me that someone who has 5 children with 3 different partners and has been held liable for assaulting at least one woman shouldn't be telling me how to raise my children. That it is clearly documented that the Bible itself stood for diversity, equity, and inclusion. As well as empathy and compassion for all people. It is documented in the Old Testament that the Holy Spirit spoke in multiple tongues so that all could hear in their own language.
Amen.
And the New Testament includes 4 different gospels so that all people of the time had an equal opportunity to hear the message.
Amen.
The golden rule has always been, do unto others as you would have them done unto you. And Christ himself warned that the people, whatsoever you do to the least of my people, you do unto me. Unlike the president or Fox News, I am happy to have you check any of my facts.
All right.
We live in a time when Google and ChatGPT make checking facts easier than ever before, yet so many people seem to not be able to do so. I'm asking that we all stand together in this and try to employ some actual common sense and real values and help spread facts and awareness to save our democracy from the grips of this authoritarian control.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That required bravery. I saw her shaking, and she talked anyway. And I'm hoping others will too. Because, like she said, it's going to require all of us to stand up to defeat this sort of thing. So if anybody else has anything else to say, I would love to hear it.
How do you talk?
Hi, my name's Diane. I'm a psychiatrist. I have spent much of my career working in emergency rooms. I spent 6 years at Methodist Hospital in downtown Indianapolis. If you were homeless and became desperate enough to tell someone you were suicidal, I was probably the face that you saw the next morning. And I can tell you what decimating Medicare is going to do to our population, because this is the population that I've spent my career caring for, and that I spent a decade training to care for. If we allow Medicaid to be destroyed, we are going to have people literally dying because of it. Okay? Medicaid is a lifeline to our most vulnerable citizens that gives them access to basic care. Okay? Medicaid allows our most vulnerable seniors to afford nursing home care. Without Medicaid, most Americans would not at some point be able to care for relatives with advanced dementia, with advanced physical conditions, who need care that's beyond what most of us can provide in our homes. And while I know all of us wish that we could care for our loved ones until their final days, that is not always an option. Medicaid allows people with mental illness to access services. It allows people with addiction to have a chance at surviving that addiction and going on to become members of our community who give us hope, who give us inspiration, who give us a chance at a better future for them and for all of us. Okay. Medicaid allows people who are down on their luck, who have lost a job or had an unfortunate car accident or something like that, to continue to live their lives and to not be completely destroyed by medical debt. I have practiced in states that chose not to expand Medicaid. I will never forget seeing 20-year-old college students sobbing in my office, wondering if they could possibly afford a $4 antidepressant. So what Representative Baird and his colleagues are doing is taking the lives of America's most vulnerable and sacrificing them on the altar of conservative billionaires.
And they don't care.
I'm very sad because everything I love is dying, right? The planet's dying, animals are dying, my country's dying, democracy's dying, and I'm pissed. Now you can boo me if you want to, but I'm a former Republican and a former lawyer. And I want to tell Congressman Baird that these are not paid operatives. I was a lifelong Republican. My husband was an elected official Republican. The party left us. That's right. They're We always cared about freedom. We always cared about the Constitution. And now it's not the Republican Party, it's the fascist party. Gay, straight, lawyer, we have all got to band together and fight fascism. Otherwise, we are going to lose. So it's all of us together. We've got to be united on that. And I am ashamed. I am sad and pissed and ashamed. My fellow attorneys, if they don't step up, we're going to lose the rule of law because maybe that will redeem me. But as a former teacher, I taught about due process. If the brown person on the street doesn't have due process, you don't get due process. If they succeed in scaring and destroying the legal profession and the court system, we have a dictatorship, and I will not live in a dictatorship. So all I want to say is I'm going to fight like hell. I'm so glad that you are going to fight like hell because we've got to save the Constitution. They are trying to put out so many shiny objects on all these issues, which are important, and I agree with you all. We've got to fight on all these issues, but it isn't only about the issues. They're trying to go, we're fighting the issues and take away our whole country right from under us, destroy the Constitution so that you can't stand out and fight for anything anymore, right? Because you'll be put in a van and taken to El Salvador just like the brown folks. So, anyway, that's all I have to say, and I'm pissed, and I'm here, and I love you.
Before we have another person talk, I wanted to do this just as a show. How many of you are Jim Baird's constituents? Just so we don't have like, oh, we didn't bust people in from anywhere. Just checking. Just checking. Oh, this looks like everyone. Okay, thank you.
Good point. Did you get a picture of that?
I see a lot of cameras. Hopefully somebody got a picture of that.
If not, we can do it again.
We can.
Is there anybody here from the press?
Yes.
Is 18 here?
Can you hear? Yeah. No? Can you hear
Channel
now?
18 is here or not?
I'm not sure.
My name is Mary, and gosh, I'm used to talking in front of 5-year-olds, so this is I'd like to address the bill that's coming before them to vote on Wednesday. It's called the No Rogue ruling.
Louder.
The No Rogue ruling. It calls for impeaching judges and changing the constitutional authority just because Trump or any future president doesn't like their rulings.
Yes.
This is an egregious authoritarian act,
Yes.
and it must be stopped. Supreme Court Justice Roberts issued a rare statement in his attempt to maintain the threefold branches of government and to refute Trump's attempt to impeach justices. He stated, "For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose." As a member of Congress, Representative Baird, you were elected and took an oath to honor, protect, and defend our Constitution. The first words in the Constitution are, "We the people," not "we the Republicans" or "we the Democrats." I can assure you, Republican Baird, that we, the people of Indiana, both parties, do not want to see our fragile democracy dismantled by fear of one man's revenge. I'm respectfully asking you to vote no on this bill and encourage your colleagues to vote no as well. In an email correspondence, you stated that President Trump is the greatest president in your lifetime. Since you aren't that much older than me, I would beg to differ. But that's a debate for another time. You also stated that you strongly support his agenda.
No matter what.
So confidence is not high that you will consider my request to do the right thing. If you truly believe in the Constitution that you served for and swore to uphold, that declared that no man is above the law, it is your obligation to vote no.
There you go.
The only ones who are going rogue are President Trump, his administration, and those who are afraid to stand up and do the right thing. Representative Baird, will fear of retribution keep you from doing what is constitutionally right?
Yes.
Will you bend a knee to the oligarchs, or will you be a common sense legislator? I pray that people with power will get common sense, and people with common sense will get power.
I think we have someone in the annex or whatever is there. I want to make sure that we don't forget them.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
We hear you. Okay, I'm 17. 5 years ago. And if you know what being 17 is like, you make some very dumb choices. Right? 5 years ago, I helped my parents vote for the first time. They are naturalized citizens. They are immigrants from China. They got to exercise the right to vote for the first time in their entire lives, regardless of if it was in America or in China. 5 years ago, I got interested in our local politics. I got interested in who this Jim Baird person was. I went on YouTube, like any child would. I looked up Jim Baird. I scrolled, and all I could find was a 2-minute video posted on his YouTube channel with 53 subscribers. I checked this 30 minutes ago with 52 subscribers. Absolutely nothing on his channel. He hasn't posted for 2 years, and he has made zero effort since then to reach out to his constituents. I don't care what your political allegiance is. If this man who has made zero effort to reach out to you, to put out all this effort to get your vote, then you shouldn't be voting for him. I remember just a few months ago, in I believe it was October or September, I was thinking about him again because I knew he was running again. I found again nothing. You know what was on YouTube instead? An adventurer YouTuber was far more popular than Jim Baird just because he had the same name as him. I still couldn't find anything about him. And in addition, he has made zero effort. In October, all I could find was a singular billboard in Lafayette. That is all his effort he has to show you and to reach out to you. You should not demand political patronage. You should not expect a political patronage simply because he's a Republican, simply because he is a member of the GOP party. They are no longer the same party that they were, I believe, 30 years ago when you potentially voted for them, or even in recent years when you voted for them. I know in 1 year I will be able to vote. I will be able to vote. Has my vote, and I believe that if he continues to make this little amount of effort for your vote, then you should vote against him too.
I'm from Newton County, not a
my common sense that a man who posts on his Facebook feed, I'm proud today because I voted for X, Y, and Z, things that you've been talking about. I'm proud now to say, if I don't get my Social Security on April 9th in my automatic deposit, my common sense says, what makes me think I'm going to get the May, the June one, the July? And if I speak up, I am not a fraudster. I can tell you that right now. I will lose, I was trying to do the math in my head, which is sometimes questionable, but it'll be about half of my automatic deposits I have. And so, but one of the deposits that I make weekly is I'm a substitute teacher. And so I retired 6 years ago. You do the math. I was 68 when I retired. So I'm not planning on subbing forever, but maybe that'll change come April, May, June, July, and whenever. But I'm very happy doing it. I'm proud doing it. I can say I'm proud because I've really connected as junior high, high schoolers, and they're awesome. And I just try to respect them, bond with them. I don't talk politics because that would be inappropriate at school. I did sub for maternity leave into government for 9 weeks while the teacher did. She had a baby. So, and I didn't then either. I know where and when I can speak. But I'm very happy to be here today to be able to speak in a room full of people who raise their hands, who are like-minded. And I don't know this for a serious fact, but my understanding, which could be checked, is that Newton County is the reddest county in the state. I just heard it, yeah, I don't know. But that's what I've heard, and it's true. I don't say anything. I see Trump all over. And I went to IU, I don't even talk about Purdue. But I'm a Big Ten fan, so I can't talk about Purdue. And I can be happy if they win. But it's sad if they lose. But anyway, I just wanted to share I'll have to continue subbing for who knows how long. I enjoy it, I get up, it structures my day, it's not about that. I do it so I can buy a plane ticket to see my brother and spend it on my grandkids. I
just want to say that everybody who's talking, these are real people. These are real faces. This is why we're doing this, because these cuts, these illegal cuts, these are real people that are affecting. This is all of us. This isn't some abstract face somewhere. These are not people who are trying to game any sort of system. This is a government that we set up. This is why we're here, and this is why we need this guy to show up and to vote, so we protect the people that he was elected to do.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yep.
Can you guys hear me? I actually hate talking. I hate public speaking. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Close to my, I hate my voice though. I absolutely hate the sound of my voice. And yeah, I think that's a me problem, not you guys' problem. So hey, I'm Shirley. I am a jack of all trades. Okay, I am actually a member of what you guys, everybody calls the working class. All right. No formal education. So, out of my background, I have worked in our public schools. I worked at local Jeff for many, many moons, about 8 years. I worked in our special education department. So I worked out there with our schools going to vouchers. I have seen these breakdowns of our school systems from the right to, quote, choose. The only thing people are choosing is to line their pockets. That is since after that, I had to go to something year-round. Honestly, schoolwork. I love you guys who can do it, but those who work hands-on with the kids all the time, they get paid a fraction of what the teachers do, and you guys think teachers are paid bad. I'm not kidding. So those are the people we need to watch out as well. Everybody. Then from there, I moved on. I worked for the state Medicaid program, okay, TANF, Medicaid, that type of thing. I was working that program. So I know those bylaws. I saw the program with HIP 2.0 roll out. I saw the greatness of everybody being able to have health coverage. You guys everybody being able to have their prescriptions. That is the best thing. Nobody should actually have to go between getting their food or getting their medication. That is the one thing that should be never. So I did that many moons, and now I'm at one of our local plants here, and I love what I do. I love the people I work with, but you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing a lot of people are tired because they no longer can afford to take their family on a vacation. They can no longer afford to provide a roof over their head. They can't even afford how much of housing has gone up in the last 5 years. A 2-bedroom apartment should not cost $3,000, depending on where you're at. There is no reason for that. So this is not just something that if we have, it's gonna, another 4 years, we can't. This is something that we all need to pay attention. Our lovely lawyer over there said this is a constitutional crisis. She is 100% correct. Right. Realize that this is no longer a sitting by scenario. This affects us all. So I want you guys, the people who are my age and younger, there needs to be more of us. Yeah. There needs to be more of us. My children, my grandchildren, my nieces and nephews. I want them to have a country that I grew up in. And I grew up not even 25 years ago. Like, that was my teenage years. Come on, like this, it's changed too much. So, I think we need time, guys. It's time to act.
I have heard that some people who can't stand, if you have a seat and you're able to stand, can you trade with them so we can make sure that they...
I will.
Thank you so much. I don't know where the folks are. I've been relayed that message. I have a request. Is anyone from Benton County here?
Where?
Benton County? Some folks are here from Benton County, I'm sure.
The ice band's waiting for you.
All right.
Chairs over here.
Chairs are over here. If you need chairs.
Can I grab a mic?
Yes, I will try to get to everybody.
It's because all these people care more about others than they do about themselves.
I would love to hear. Maybe you'd love to hear me too. I would love to hear from folks. I'm going to try to get to as many people as possible. We're getting closer to the hour. I have a little bit more to say after this, so I'm going to pass this around. We'll probably will pass that hour, but I do want to respect your time and thank you for coming. So I want to start getting to that point. Pass this out.
I'd like to ask. I've got nothing.
Hello.
Yeah, that one works. That one's
This
working.
one's okay?
Yeah. I'd like to ask the room, how many women in this room do not have a passport and you're currently married? you've got to get one. You've got to get a passport. It's the only way that we are going to be allowed to vote. That's right. If you go with your birth certificate, is your birth certificate the same name that is on your driver's license? Mine's not. You've got to get a passport, and you've got to do it now. And if it's expired, get it reissued. It is our lifeline.
Hold it close to your mouth.
Can you hear it now? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Elon Musk is going to save trillions of dollars slashing our domestic spending. That's what he wants to do. What has he convinced Trump we should do? We should put men on Mars. Yeah. Musk owns SpaceX. Who is going to get these billions of dollars that he's saving, trillions, to put men on Mars? Do we see a conflict of interest?
I think it's on. I think you've really got to put it really close.
Can you hear now?
My name is Baird, and I'm also a history professor, and I also, which includes government. My name is Baird. I teach history. I'm a history professor, which also includes government, foreign policy, but many years overseas. I was very grateful in Africa, Central Asia, the Middle East. I was always grateful to have an American passport because I lived through a lot of coups. In every single country, there was censorship, police states, authoritarian societies, the censored press, jail oppression, and I always thought, as fragile as we are, as fracas as we are, and we've been squabbling since we were colonies, I used to say two things about my country. One, that everybody, regardless of our politics, believed in the Constitution. I can't say that anymore. And number two, that we believe in a free market economy. I guess that's still true. Actually, no, you're right. And by the way, Elon's already the largest federal contractor in NASA. Yeah. So of course he's going to get that. You know, some of the things that are going through my mind. What you said, the first teacher. We need a copy of that. That was really good. Yes. When we leave here, we need action steps. I was thinking a couple of days ago that one of the action steps might be a concerted effort to start funds collectively around the country to make sure that women have the tool that they need, whether it's a passport or something that assures their name, because you can bet they're going to do everything they can to undermine the next election. Other thing that you really need to know is that what he's doing, executive orders are protected by the Constitution. It's in Article 2, it's embedded in there, executive orders are protected. Possibly a future amendment at some point on restricting the number of executive orders the president can do, I don't know. But here's the thing. We want Congress to do something. Here's the sobering fact. Congress cannot negate an executive order. Congress can pass a law to counter an executive order.
That's right.
That sounds great, except the president can veto that bill should it pass. And then it would take 2/3 of both houses of Congress to override the veto. Now, I'm not trying to be Betty Downer, but that's just a fact. So as we plan our action, we need to keep these things in mind. And one of the things I've been hearing constantly is, here we are showing up all over the country. We want to scream at our Congress and just say, fight! Where are you? Just fight! Why are you not fighting like we're fighting? Don't tell us, well, we have a minority, blah, blah, blah. No, fight. If they're not fighting, believe me, a commentator said a few weeks ago, and it hit my heart, he never thought that our democracy was so shallow. He didn't even use the words fragile. I've always known the word fragile. But we're so shallow, it could deteriorate so quickly. So in your next message, just say, fight. We want you to be loud and clear because we are.
I'm going to cover that in a bit too when we start wrapping up, because I have, after all this, some next steps for everybody in actions. So I'm going to take two more, and I apologize. I'm so glad that everyone has things to say, and so I'm going to get over there, and I just want to thank you all, and I apologize for not being able to get to everyone. It sounds like you all have so much to say, and I encourage you to say that. I think we have postcards on people's seats too. Write that down. Always be contacting. Never shut up about this. Like, never. Just another person.
So I know the guy in the red shirt back there, he had his hand up like way more than me, and I don't want to take a voice from anybody. So if you want to go him, and then you're good. All right. So first, thank you to everybody that showed out, everybody that's talked. I initially had planned to just come and look and watch and see what's going on. First, my name is Anthony Houston. I, as pointed out, am a veteran. I enlisted shortly. After 9/11, I was blessed enough to get selected for a program that sent me to Purdue to do my undergrad. Loved Purdue, loved Lafayette area, fell in love, decided when I retire, I'm going to move back here. Got commissioned as an officer, went out to the fleet, did some more work, got to come back and do my master's and get a head start on my PhD program. Went back out to the fleet, a couple more ships, and then finally retired and moved back here for my forever home where I So I've always kind of kept an eye on Indiana politics. I really hadn't had a chance to dive back in because I'm trying to finish up my dissertation. I do political science, international relations, and my primary focus is counterterrorism and extremist violence.
Do you signal?
I do now, but never for classified information. And if you're super interested, I can show you the receipts. That's 100% classified information, or at least should be classified information if Higgs wants to claim that he declassified it. Because if he wanted to, he decided to declassify it so he's not in trouble. He put American service members in jeopardy. So I saw Jim Baird's post on Facebook on National Poultry Day. Which I actually was not aware was a thing. But he made his post claiming that egg prices had dropped 50% since January 20th. And so my immediate comment to him on his Facebook post was like, you're clearly not shopping in your district. And I've been watching it a little bit more and more, and just some of it's just very Trump. Everything Trump. Just he has swallowed, the pill, drank the Kool-Aid, whatever. It's just all Trump, and not Hoosiers, right? Not Indiana. Not what matters here to people. And all of you are here talking about all the things that matter to you. Especially, thank you for summing up so great. All of the problems here. But I'm sorry to say that it is so much worse than what we are talking about right now.
Yes, it is.
It's not just social issues. It's not just institutional challenges, right? With the signal leak, right? They immediately go after the sleazebag journalists and talk about how he's not trustworthy because he talks about all this other stuff like Russia, and the Russia hoax. Right, we are missing a critical aspect in our democracy right now. There's not a Russia hoax, right? There is clear Russian influence in 2016. There are congressional and intelligence committees investigations showing that. There are Department of Justice prosecutions for that under Trump's administration, under his first administration, right? And it goes beyond that, right? We know that groups on the right have been getting money funneled from Russia, right? Look at the NRA. They took money from Russia before the 2016 election. And I will say that as I am a gun lover, lots of time in the military. I'm an aspiring Indiana farmer. So I very enjoy my weapons responsibly. Right? took not just a big against Second Amendment or gun ownership or anything like that. This is corruption of the NRA, right? The California secessionist movement. Yes, California. Anybody familiar with that? Right, I was stationed in California for a couple of tours. Funded by Russia. There are prosecutions because of the Russian funding that is happening, or that happened with Yes, California. This is all over our society. They're the Internet Research Agency, right? You can look up all the documentation, the intelligence committees, Senate committees, on everything that the Internet Research Agency, right, the Russian cyber brigades, are doing in our democracy and in our civil discourse. 2017, Charlottesville, right, Unite the Right rally. One of the chants in front of the shouted Robert E. Lee Memorial is "Russia is our friend."
Go Ukraine!
Yeah, if you don't trust me, look this up. I swear to you, you can watch it from their own words. And we are ignoring everything that's going on because yes, Social Security, absolutely critical. Education, absolutely critical. Human decency, treating people, absolutely critical. Right? We're disappearing people in our own streets, right?
Trump is a Russian agent, that's the point.
Yes, he is.
And if he's not, he sure is a useful dupe. I will point out another instance in all of this, right? Not only just all of the interference in funding, right? So Musk, very electric vehicle guy, used to go and engage in democratic political discourse, used to be clean air. He used to be pretty liberal, right? A libertarian is what he said, but liberal. He's clearly changed, right? When did he change?
Money talks.
After his trip to Russia.
It's the ketamine.
If you look at all of his rhetoric, and again, this is I research trends towards extremist violence, right? And we are very much looking at problems of very extremist violence in this country, right? So Musk started changing around October of 2022. Again, check my receipts, look it up. Watch his rhetoric change. What happened in October of 2022? Twitter, but more than just Twitter, he tried to back out of the purchase of Twitter. And then a judge ordered him to complete that transaction, and then if he wanted, he could sell it afterwards. Mind you, he just sold all of his X shares to XAI and some three-card money game of finance. In the lead up to the financing, right, he has to leverage a lot of his own assets because, cash poor billionaires. He gets a lot of funding from other billionaire technocrat friends. He gets some foreign investment from Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. Again, check my receipts. There are $3 billion unaccounted for in the money that he was able to acquire to purchase Twitter. You take a $3 billion loan from somebody that you don't want to have, there's some leverage. There's reason for change. That becomes a reason why you have to get on board with whatever agenda they're pushing. Dmitry Medvedev, right? The little Putin crony that stood in for president for a while Putin went to go be the prime minister so he could keep running the country. He's now kind of a laughingstock in Russia because of his assumptions, right? He made a bunch of predictions that by 2023, Texas and California, places that Russia's done significant meddling in, would secede from the Union, and the president of the remainder of the Union would be Elon Musk. I'm serious. Again, you could look all of this up. I'll make a PowerPoint for you if you want. It's absurd, right? Who had the coup sign out front? Right? It's not just a coup. It is a Russian coup.
Yes. Yes.
They have been trying, stated purposes, to destabilize democratic countries for their own support, right? The relative gain. We see this all throughout Europe, especially Eastern Europe, right? Romania, which Vance has shamed all of Europe for allowing Romania to overturn their election, right? The presidential candidate that won the first cycle was polling at almost nothing. 2 weeks before the election, 15,000 social media accounts went active to start pushing for him. That's not from inside Romania, that's from the Internet Research Agency, the Russian cyber brigades, right? And then we have Vance going to Europe and shaming everybody for not listening to their constituents. I like Jim Baird. And then going and meeting with the AfD, the far right in Germany. This is so much more than our social issues. This is so much more than our social safety nets. This is so much more than even individual survival. This is catastrophic, not only on a national level, but on a global level. And people are not putting all the points together. Thank you for that.
I want to conclude with the last person, and then I'll talk about next steps, actions that we can take to try to do something about this.
Hi, my name's Dan. This is actually my sister. Just emailed me, and it was just this morning, so I don't have complete information about this. But she has 2 kids that her husband, who's since passed, so she's raising them on her own. They adopted these kids from Korea about 35 to 38 years ago. And so, she's been keeping them going here in the United States. She lives in Elkhart. But she just got a letter this week. These kids have all the documentation. My sister's just keeps all her ducks in a row. And anyway, the kids have voted a number of times. They're like over 40 years old now. She got a letter this week that she has to go down to the federal office in Elkhart and validate all their documentation. They have lived here for 35 years, and she gets a letter that she's got to prove that they're legitimate citizens. It's just this kind of stuff. Now, I was kind of angry before, but this kind of stuff, this is my family. And I'm talking, now I'm angry. So,
I want to thank each and every one of you who spoke up, and I'm very sorry to the people we didn't get to. It sounds like there's so many other stories, and I encourage all of you to, if you don't know each other, meet each other, listen to each other's stories, and build a better community, which is a little bit about what I'm going to talk about here. And what is to be done, I guess. We've heard everyone's stories, and we need to know what comes next. What does that look like? How can we stop any of this stuff? First off, the things I want you to take away, there's a lot of them. This stuff is not popular. It might seem that way, it might be framed that way. You might see the news talk about it in that way, or like the larger news stations talk about it that way, but it's not. And there is evidence to support that. The only president that's more or less popular than Trump right now is Trump in his first term. It's not, and it's on the decline. It's not looking up. Democrats are overperforming in like wild races, like huge swings in races. People might not have large ideological differences, but they know they don't like this stuff. And it's important that we remember that going forward, that this stuff isn't popular, we don't have to pretend it's popular, and people are mad all over this country about what's happening. These people are not invincible. It might seem that way. There's people who are being disappeared off the street. It might seem like they have controls over everything, but they're not invincible. These people are actually pretty weak. These are acts of desperation, not of power. And it's important that we all remember that, because we hold power. The numbers have the power. They don't. I want to talk about Bernie, AOC, and Tim Walz for a second, because they're doing something right now that's really They've gone out in this country, and they've talked to people. And they've talked about what's happening. And I want to tell you, people have shown up. Thousands and thousands of people. These aren't even necessarily Bernie voters. These aren't leftists. These are people who want to fight. They see what's going on and they know they want to do something. And these are the only people right now that are going out and doing something. So they're showing up in droves. And we need to internalize that, because this is where the popular energy is. It's not with the people in power right now. It's people who want to see change.
Let's invite them here.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Yes, we will do that. I thought that was implicit, but explicitly we will do that. The oligarch, that's what they went on tour about. That's who controls what's going on right now. It might seem like it's some ideological thing, and for some people it is, but that's what it's about. It's about people, billionaires, who want more and more money. And they're running out of places to get it, so they're robbing us.
They got their last 50 trillion out of us.
That's right, and they're going to keep going unless we stop them.
That is our money.
It's our money. These are our benefits. I want to stress this. It might seem scary, but there's no one coming to save us. That's right. That's right. We are the people we've been waiting for. We are here to organize, and we can win this back. It's not about anyone else. It's us. It's a democracy. It's very scary out there, and we need to be courageous, even if we shake. There's people who talked up here, they were nervous visibly, but they spoke anyway. And that needs to be each and every single person here. You need to stand up and use your voice. Democracy is a verb. It's not, but it's pithy. So I'm going to use it anyway. It's not voting every 2 to 4 years. Democracy is something you do everywhere. It's when we have a voice to control the outcomes of what's happening. And that means that you need to get involved at every single level. That means you don't sit back and say, oh man, I'm waiting for 2026, I hope something happens. Like, that's not enough, and we need to do more. I want to encourage everyone to use your platform. It might seem like I have a platform because I have a microphone and you're all listening to me. And that's great, I do, but you also all have your own platforms. The people that you're in your family, the people that you communicate with on social media, every time you say, I don't want to talk about politics, I'm going to pull back. I encourage you to fight that. Because the only way you're going to convince people is if you talk to those around you. You're not going to convince them with charts, facts, and any of that stuff. They're going to convince you, you can convince them because they trust you. That's why they're friends with you. That's why they're in your family. It's not going to work all the time, but it's the only way that you actually get to change people's minds.
Plant a seed.
That's right. I encourage you to join us, Greater Lafayette Indivisible. We've been around since 2017, after the first Trump administration, and we want you all here. Like, we organized this, but we're looking for more people. This is not 3 or 4 people who decide on what's going on. This is all of you, if you join us. We want to do more. We want more ideas. We want to know how to do this. It's how we organize. We are a progressive organization. You can find us on Blue Sky. You can find us at our website, LafayetteIndivisible.com. And we're going to hold more events, and we hope that you'll sign our mailing list and you heard people.
This Saturday is a nationwide hands-off. Find a protest near you and show up.
Yes, that's right. I encourage you to join, organize, and support a union. Labor is wildly important, and collective bargaining is how we get goods. So, union support, uncritically. Join another organization.
The 5 calls. There's an app.
I am absolutely going to cover that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Join another org. We have Surge, Standing Up for Racial Justice, Greater Lafayette Immigrant Allies, Indiana Task Force, our Younger Women's Task Force is another group, Greater Lafayette DSA or YDSA, mad voters, and there's a lot more. There's actually a lot of, there's a lot of organizations that exist here, and we encourage you to join those too if you don't find us to be a fit. But we would love for you to be a fit. We'll make you be a fit. This is also something I want to stress. The world that we knew, that we loved, is gone. And that seems very scary. And it is very scary. But I want to look at that as an opportunity, because we can make a better world together. We don't have to be tied to the things of the past. That it was an imperfect union to begin with, and we can create a much better world where we don't leave people behind, where we don't have to worry like, oh, I really hope that what we have as Medicaid exists still. We can grow that. We can have a completely new system. We don't have to be tethered to the past, because clearly whoever's in power now isn't either. We want fighters. We don't want losers. FDR, fighter. You know what happened under him? All the things we've been talking about. Yes, all of that. We want people who are not going to sit there and say, we got to save our powder because for the fight that comes maybe later. That's not what we're looking for. We want people to stand up and fight right now. No excuses. We need new leadership. That we make sure this happens, because it's not going to happen on its own.
Chuck.
Yes, Chuck. There has been so much over. I'm a certain age, and for my entire life, I have never seen like a huge expanse in any of these things. It's always just trying to hold on to what we have, and I think that's ridiculous. We should be fighting for a better future all the time. Everything that everyone has said and more.
Office.
Thank you.
Run for office.
I am very busy right now, but it is something. And I'm even going to talk about it, so I don't want to be a hypocrite. But thank you. Run for office, right? Instead of looking at me, I want to point it at you, and I encourage all of you to run for office, because there's a lot of seats that never get run for. There's just so many open things, and if you don't think you're qualified, I would have you check the news, because you are all overqualified for these positions. You can't see these, but I will post all of these slides on our website, and you can check these out. These are all of the races that are open locally in 2026. And I'll tell you what, we've supported people who ran, we've canvassed for people who ran, and they've made a real difference. These smaller offices, you don't think about them, but they matter a great deal, especially locally. So it's, yes, Jim Baird and District 4, but all of these matter tremendously, and they apply pressure upward as well. I want to encourage you as a part of this to start thinking about what the future could look like. Because if and when we attain power, we gotta have a plan. It can't be just, we're gonna stop the next thing. We gotta have a positive vision of what it looks like. And a plan will always beat no plan. So we better have the paperwork ready for when that happens. So we're not caught flat-footed. So we're not trying to see if we can get some Republicans on board for some thing. We always waste political capital when we have it, and we should be using it to improve the lives of the citizenry. Think of it like Project 2029, but good. And I really mean granular. So you can start big ideas and then start thinking how these things can get passed. Important things you can do right now. So there's a Supreme Court election happening Tuesday of next week. Elon Musk put a ton of money, made it the most expensive Supreme Court election.
20 million.
20 million. And he can't win that because that's ridiculous. That is money all up in our politics. So if you know people in Wisconsin, please reach out to them, make sure they vote. Wisconsin has same-day voter registration, so it doesn't matter if they're registered now or not, they can go and vote. In addition, I encourage people to look for phone banks. I know that they're still doing them, and you can phone bank with the campaign and call people in Wisconsin, make sure they get out, because it's going to be a turnout election. Tesla takedown and protest. I don't know if you've seen these, but they've been very popular. That is where a lot of Elon Musk's power lies, is within Tesla. It's a big pyramid scheme that he has going right there. And if we can affect the stock price of Tesla, that matters greatly for all his other companies and how he pays for these elections. If you have a Tesla, you should sell it because it's only going to go down from here. There's a lot of other great electric cars that you can buy from other manufacturers. And call every day using 5calls.org. Call Goodyear, call your representative. It makes it super easy on your phone to call every single day. Calls matter greatly. Call, in order of importance of how they rank things, office visits, calls, emails and letters, and like tweets. So it's important that you call every day. They're counted.
Is it possible to recall a senator, for example?
I am not sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that the barrier for that is extremely high.
Probably is, but I agree with the young lady that spoke earlier. I write to these guys all the time. They never get an answer.
What was the question?
Is there a way to recall someone? And really the elections are the recalls if you think about it. And he has to run every 2 years, so that's when you really have to start doing it. Like I said, the bar for recalling someone is extremely high. I don't know the specifics though. Not in Indiana, so yeah.
I saw that you mentioned the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. There are also 2 open house seats in North Florida that are also going to the polls on April 1st. People in the Tallahassee to Daytona area, all through the top of the Panhandle. So if you have friends and family out that way, please reach out to them too. That could make a big difference if we can.
Or donate to their donate
Yeah.
5 blocks or something.
Yeah, you can get out there and call, you can donate. Those things are really important to do. And I want to stress that it's not about you individually. It's not. We might seem like we do everything individually, but it's not about you. And it's definitely not about me up here talking. It's about all of us working collectively, because that's how change happens. It doesn't happen on an individual level. It happens with us all in solidarity. And I want to thank you for coming out today. I want to thank you for speaking. I want to thank you for listening. If you are interested, you can contact me here. You can talk to me afterwards. But thanks for taking time out of your Sunday, and we hope to see you around.